Welcome, welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Just getting people in from the waiting room. Thanks for being here, for being on time. Excited to see everybody here today and share some knowledge together. Just keeping an eye on the waiting room here. I'll give folks just a minute more to see if anybody pops in, and then I will be incredibly respectful of your time today and make sure we get going and get you the information that you're here for today. So just letting a few more folks in. Give everybody one more minute and then we'll get started. Thanks again for being here. Today will be real easy for you all. I'm going to do most of the talking, but happy to answer any questions you all might have as well. So, all right, it looks like everybody's made the leap from the waiting room. So thank you again to everybody who's here and here on time. My name is Maureen Devine All. I am the Director of Programs and Community Impact here at DogTag. I have been at DogTag now for 4 years, which is crazy, which means I have gotten the opportunity to see quite a few cohorts at this point in time and quite a few fellows come through. So you're in good hands today. I am a military spouse myself, so I feel really connected to the work that we do here. And then I always like to say I love to bake and eat baked goods. So working at a bakery is just fun for me. And if you decide to apply, I introduce myself like that a lot. So you might hear me do it again further down the line in an interview or something. So apologies in advance if I sound repetitive. So today is our DogTag Fellowship informational webinar. So I have a bunch of slides I'm going to go here through to get you all the basics you need to know about our fellowship program starting in summer 2026. What the application cycle looks like, what you need to know, what a good candidate is, all of those wonderful things. So I'm going to work my way through the slides and ask that you guys just kind of like buckle up and hold on for that ride. And then we'll get to questions and answers at the end. Does that sound good? Great. It's just me here today, so I'm doing my best to let folks in, but probably won't really be able to keep an eye on the chat. So again, if you can hold those questions till the end, I can make sure I get to you. Alrighty, here, let's get the slideshow up and driving. All right, so our agenda for today, we're going to go over a little bit of history of DogTag, an overview of the fellowship program, an overview of our alumni network. Fellowship program is just the first 5 months of a lot of tools and resources, your eligibility requirements, application process and documents, and then, as I mentioned, Q&A. So about DogTag, we were founded in 2014, so celebrated 10 years a couple of years ago. Our two co-founders, Constance Milstein and Father Rick Curry, came together and believed in the vision of a bakery, also as a training ground, right? So we like to say we use our bakery as a living business school. We invite in fellows for a 5-month program, to essentially redefine their future, explore themselves, explore business opportunities, and all of those things, and figure out your pathway forward post military service or aside from your military service, as I appreciate some of you might be spouses who still have active duty service members. So as I mentioned, we started in 2014. That first class of fellows was just 10 fellows. And we're so proud now to share that we have a network of over 400 graduates, and we host new cohorts of fellows each year. Our program is focused on business and entrepreneurship, and we equip veterans and military spouses with the tools and education to build resilience, find renewed purpose, and forge community beyond the military. We consider ourselves a bridge from military service to the civilian world. So our innovative approach is a 5-month paid fellowship program that includes a lot of pillars of programming. Some of those pillars include an academic foundation. You'll earn a certificate in business in partnership with Georgetown University. You combine equal parts classroom, bakery, community, and well-being. All of those things are very important to us. And then we bring that coursework to life by learning the ins and outs of running a successful business, as I mentioned, through our bakery business. All the while, you're building community with each other in your cohort, with all of us who work at Dog Tag, and of course, those 400 alumni that I mentioned. And we're really proud of our community and often hear from our fellows and alumni that that's one of the biggest benefits of the program. So the program overview for summer 2026, program dates will run July 14th through November 19th. We always take a fall break right in the middle of the program, and that will land September 14 through 18 this year. It is a hybrid program, so you'll find yourself most of those weeks in a virtual learning environment. It looks a lot like this. Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. All of that is synchronous, so you will literally log on every day with the other members of your cohort, have live classes, live instructors, live conversations, right? And then we will also bring you for 3 weeks of in-person time together at our bakery. Those weeks will land July 27, September 21, and November 16th. There is no cost to participate in this program. In fact, we offer a stipend to participants. It is a taxable stipend, so you've got to get that figured out on your own. But essentially, it's a monthly stipend to offset costs associated with attending the fellowship. And that might include travel to those in-person weeks, childcare, transportation, parking, right? Whatever costs you might incur to get here and to be fully present for both the virtual and in-person weeks. We have the ability to provide laptops if you need one for participation. And then for those in-person weeks, we do have some partners to assist with flights and lodging costs. Our one partner is able to provide no-cost flights, so that's a big one. And then lodging costs, we have a few hotel partnerships that offer points and discounts and whatnot. But again, we expect you to use that stipend that we provide to plan for your travel and any expenses incurred to participate. So our program does have 5 elements. There's that academic foundation, experiential learning, learning labs, well-being and reflection, and your capstone project. What can you expect in each of those elements? So in the academic foundation, that's where you'll earn that certificate in business from Georgetown University. You'll do that in 6 courses: principles of management, principles of marketing, business accounting, communication and organizations, financial management, and entrepreneurship. All of those are taught by Georgetown professors. It's curriculum that has been designed by Georgetown. And you will earn that certificate directly from Georgetown and be considered an alum of Georgetown University upon completion of the certificate. We then do another portion of our programming is the experiential learning, or you'll find it called rotations while you're in the program. You will literally rotate through the different parts of our business, and you'll learn things about how we do our marketing and product development, our operations, development or fundraising, finance and strategy, and of course our bakery. You can see some of our fellows and team working together, literally baking in the kitchen, which is something that you'll have the opportunity to do during one of those in-person weeks. And essentially the goal is to take what you're learning in your academic setting, textbook business, and apply it, right? Have a chance to apply it hands-on and learn about how we're running our small business every single day. And then be able to apply that to what you're working on. We also carve time for something called Learning Labs. We partner with a ton of different partners who will come in and teach Learning Labs on a variety of topics. Some of them are really skills focused, right? You might have a profitability workshop, right? Some of them are wellness focused. We have somebody who comes in and teaches a chair yoga. If you spend a lot of time in front of your computer, that can be really helpful. Entrepreneurial stories, we invite in a bunch of entrepreneurs to share how did they get where they are today so that you can learn their journey and find maybe some similarities in your own. Corporate culture and tools. We'll do some self-assessments, right, where you kind of learn what's your business type. We also do some field trips and offsite experiences, which are really fun. Essentially, this is an opportunity to connect with other entrepreneurs, build your network, hear their stories, and build your skills. Well-being and reflection are really important to us. We believe health is wealth, and that if you're going to be successful, you've got to have, your tools and tricks for when stress comes in the room, and even not when stress comes in the room, just to be well in general. So developing your personal toolkit of self-care and wellness techniques. We do a lot of journaling and reflection. You'll find mindfulness and meditation sprinkled throughout the weeks. We try and work in physical activity. We go for a Wednesday morning walk together, walk and talk, we call it every week. Yoga, bar, breathing, meditation, we invite it all in. And then you'll also take a theater-based class called Finding Your Voice. And during that class, you will develop a story. You'll develop your storytelling skills. And at the end of the program, we have a Finding Your Voice night where everybody gets up on our stage and tells a story of their choosing. That's both meant to help strengthen your voice and your public speaking skills, but also give you ownership over your story as you're getting out into the world. How do you want to promote yourself? How do you want to talk about yourself? A chance to really own your narrative. And then last but definitely not least, you'll work on a capstone project over the course of the 5 months. That is where you will develop a business idea of your own. Again, so taking everything that you're learning, academic, dog tag, right, make it your own. So in those capstone courses, you will develop a business plan and a 2-year budget to go along with that business plan that will provide an overview of your business idea, a market analysis, a budget, and a 2-year forecast. And then at the end of the program, you will pitch that business idea in front of a small panel of reviewers who will give you feedback on that idea so that you leave the program with a plan, some feedback, right, and some real roots if that's what you choose to pursue after the program. Once you have made it through all of that, we host a really lovely graduation week for you. And for this cohort, that will take place November 16 through 19 in Washington, D.C. All of the in-person weeks take place in Washington, D.C. During that week, you'll do that capstone business pitch presentation I mentioned. You'll do your Finding Your Voice night presentation I mentioned. And then we'll have a really lovely graduation ceremony on Thursday, as well as some other programming, right, to really close out the experience and the cohort together. So once you've done all that, I like to say the fellowship is really just the first 5 months of a lifelong relationship with us if you want it. Our alumni network is, again, 400 people strong at this point in time. You will have access to that alumni network as a graduate. You get a weekly newsletter from us, which is a super resource-rich tool. We host monthly programming, variety of virtual and in-person, depending on where you're located. We do alumni meetups, social activities. We offer programs in mentorship, advisorship, and mastermind groups. We try and always be thinking about, right, you're not just going to do a 5-month fellowship and be like, yay, I have my life figured out. I'm good now. We try and continue to deliver programming, 201 style learning labs to continue your personal and professional development. And continued networking and employment opportunities. Twice a year, we host an alumni and fellowship networking night that you're invited to. We invite in a bunch of partners. It's when you get to meet the new fellows. There's opportunities to volunteer in the fellowship, just lots of great stuff going on in our alumni network. Okay, so if you are like, yes, that all sounds amazing. How do I get on the list? Applications for our summer 2026 cohort are now open. In order to be eligible to get into our program, you have to be a post 9/11 veteran with service-connected disability or a military spouse of a post 9/11 service member. They can be active, retired, former, Gold Star, Guard, and Reserve. You can also be a former military spouse as long as you can demonstrate proof of service. We take military caregivers of post 9/11 service members. We take some limited spots for active service members in transition. We will have some questions about where you are in that transition. It's really important that you're able to dedicate every day, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. to being in this program. And so if you're still figuring out some medical things or you still have a lot going on, might not be the right time, but we're happy to talk that through with you. And then we do also take Guard and Reserve members. Applications are now open on our website. You can visit dogtaginc.org and click on the little programs tab, and there's a drop down that says apply now. The application window is open through March 27th, 2026. We do not do a rolling application process. So once you submit your application, we don't even start to look at them until the application window closes on the 27th, so that we look at everybody all at the same time and decide who we're going to pull into the process. Once you go to dogtaginc.org and click apply, you're going to fill out a quick eligibility form that it's going to check against those eligibility things, items that we just went through. And if you're eligible, it will email you a link to an application invitation that is unique to you. Once you click on that link and access your application, you will be asked to submit supporting documents, including either a DD-214 or a proof of service letter. There are instructions on our website about how to download a proof of service letter. You'll need a VA rating letter if you are the veteran proving that service-connected disability. And then we do also require a recommendation letter. It's really important that recommendation letter does not come from a family member. All of this is detailed in much greater detail on our website. Recommendation letter cannot come from a family member, but that's about the only restriction that we have. It can come from a neighbor, a community something you volunteer with. It can come with, right? Anyone that can just speak to, right, sort of your character, your ability to work hard and commit to something, and why they think that you would be a good match for this program. As I mentioned, these are the documents that we require on your DD-214. You can feel free to black out any sensitive information. If your service member is still active duty, please submit a copy of their current orders, and you'll have a spot to upload all of that. We'll need that VA documentation of disability rating unless you're a spouse. We do not need that if you're a spouse. And then, as I mentioned, we need that letter of recommendation. So a question we get asked often is like, what makes a good fellow? Am I a good fellow? Should I be thinking about this? And in truth, lots of different types of people make great fellows. What we look for is an eagerness to learn and engage in personal and professional development. If you show up and you think you already know it all and you're just here because you want that certificate or whatever, not going to work, right? We ask our fellows to show up with an eagerness to learn, a yearning for learning, I like to say, an open mind, right? That this is really 5 months you're committing to yourself to learn new things and see what that lights up for you moving forward. You should have a readiness to explore entrepreneurship because we do talk a lot about entrepreneurship. It does not mean you have to launch a business when you graduate from this program, but you do need to be prepared to work on a business idea, right? And go through that process and test it out. And or a career in the civilian workforce, right? We'll make sure that you leave with a great resume, a headshot. We do a lot of networking, right? Many of our alumni, the most common things that they do on the other side of this program are entrepreneurship. Go back to work, go back to school, right? Sometimes that Georgetown certificate really lights up something for them and they're like, I think I want to go back and do more of that. Are the three most common pathways that people leave our program or people report pursuing after leaving our program. You must be willing to contribute to a diverse military connected community. As I mentioned, all of our programming is synchronous, which means you and your fellow cohort members will be here together every day, learning, listening, asking questions, interacting, pausing for each other, making space for each other, right? So you have to be willing to contribute and be comfortable in that group learning environment. And then really, we ask that you have drive and motivation to thrive in a rigorous environment. This program is intentionally rigorous. Your days are full of programming. We take breaks, but you will be in programming all day. You'll be earning this certificate in business. You'll have homework. You'll be working on a business idea. So you really need to have a commitment and understand that what you're signing yourself up for is a rigorous endeavor. So once you've submitted your application, what can you expect after that? I forgot to update this date, so please ignore that. Once it closes at the end of March, as I mentioned, we will review all those applications and then send out notifications if you've been invited to the interview process. Your first round interview is conducted by a DogTag alum. We think that's a great opportunity. They know the program best, and it gives you a chance to connect with somebody who's been through it and get some of your questions answered as well. If you make it through that round, you'll move on to a second round interview. Those are conducted by the DogTag programs team. That's where we start to understand what are your goals, is what we have to offer a good match for what you're trying to achieve and those things. And then if you make it through that, the third round of interviews conducted by DogTag leadership, that's where I jump into the process. Those are also conducted small group style. And so there's usually 4 folks invited to one of those, and that's our opportunity to start to see how you interact with a group and also your comfort, right? You get to experience a group, meet some other people who are applying, and again, figure out if this is the right program for you. After those 3 rounds of interviews, which honestly is about a 4 to 6 week process by the time we work through all of that, we make our final offers. Gosh, I must have missed this page when I was doing my updating because this is all 2025 information. Final offers for the summer 2026 cohorts will be made usually by the first week in June of 2026. And then, as I mentioned, that cohort starts in the middle of July. Our goal is to give you 4 to 6 weeks between knowing that you have been admitted to the program and the program start date so that you can get life in order again, whether that's childcare, changing work arrangements, starting to book that transportation for those in-person weeks, all of those things. All right, you have made it through my slides and my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions anybody might have. Let's see here, gotta get to where I can see everybody. All right, there's nothing in the chat. Thank you for that. That makes my life a little easier. Any questions I can answer? Oh, now the chat's blowing up. You can also raise your hand, come off mute. I don't bite, I promise. All right, popping in the chat here. Let's see. It starts, does it start in the beginning of July or more like mid-July? I think the date I put up there is literally July 14th. So mid-July for sure. I'll get back to that slide for you guys. Yeah, there's the program dates. Very informative. Can I give you a range for the stipend? Yep, the stipend is $7,500 for the 5 months, paid out usually in $1,500 a month, once a month payments. Let's see. I will retire in December 2026. A veteran must have a disability rating. Yes, that is a requirement of our program. If you're not retiring until December 2026, yeah, it might be challenging for you to do the summer program because you won't have that paperwork just yet. But the good news is we start another cohort right back up in January of 2027. And so when you've got your paperwork and your time in place, we are happy to have you. Are these slides getting sent out? I won't be sending the slides out, but this is being recorded and I will make sure it gets posted to our website so that you can go back and watch it again if you like. Also, everything in these slides is on our website. It's all there, just not in slide format. If you already started a business, can you still apply? 100%. So we get lots of different ages, stages, and phases of life in our program. We get people who are like rumbling with a business idea and they want to come here and actually get it figured out. We get people who have businesses. I hear this often. They're like, I don't know, I started this thing, it's doing okay, but I feel like I don't know what I don't know. And I feel like this might be the place to figure out what I don't know and do it better. We get a lot of that. We get people who aren't even sure if entrepreneurship is for them, but they're at least up for the challenge of creating a business idea and a business plan and pitching it and seeing if it feels good in their bones. And if it doesn't feel good in their bones, totally fine. It's a very valuable experience just to go through that. If you decide you want to go work somewhere, sometimes we also have alumni hiring each other into their businesses. So there's that opportunity as well when you start to meet our alumni network. Let's see. Yes. So is it virtual 4-day a week, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. commitment for 5 months? Essentially, yes. But for these 3 in-person weeks that you've got here, those weeks we will require you to be in person in DC, still Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Yep. How much time is spent in person in DC? How much spent at home virtual? Hopefully this slide is answering that. When you put everything together, it's an 18-week program. So 15 of those weeks are virtual, 3 of those weeks are in person in DC. Are service dogs welcome for the in-person portion? Absolutely. We will just have to work with you. There are a few restrictions because we are a bakery and we do have health code stuff to abide by. So there are certain spaces that we can't have service dogs in, particularly the kitchen, but we absolutely welcome service dogs in the program. We work all of that out with you to make those accommodations while you need to be in the kitchen, which is like literally 1 day out of the whole program. So service dogs absolutely welcome, and we'll get the details worked out with you. Do we need multiple letters of recommendation? No, just one. I'm going to take a break from the chat because Jennifer, I see your hand up. Go ahead. Oh, I can't hear you. A for effort, though. All right, let's see here. Jennifer, you were muted, but even when you were off mute, I think maybe a microphone's not connected correctly. Yeah. Thanks everybody for trying to help though in the chat. I see it. Ruby, I see your hand up. I don't know if that was just to try and help with this or if you have a question. Nope, hand down. Okay. All right, Jennifer's question in the chat. Do you have any courses that discuss gaps in the market or how we might find or brainstorm business ideas? Capstone will do that a little bit, right? It is helpful if you come into the program with at least some curiosities, right, about what you think you might want to do or areas that you might be interested in. But then, yes, your very early weeks of Capstone involve market research, right? And asking you to kind of get out there, poke around. And then you turn that into a one pager, right? Sort of your one page business idea, and you start working with that. It's not actually almost until fall break, though, that we ask you to turn in and commit to, like, this is the business idea that I'm going to spend the second half of the program developing. So you really do have time to tinker and play with your ideas, research them, do market research, all of those things. Yeah, or examples of prior alumni business ideas. We have alumni come into the program often and talk about their experiences, either through those learning labs, those entrepreneurial stories. I would have to ask our alumni manager. I know that we have an alumni business directory. I think it's only available to alumni, but I mean, we're always happy to talk about it too. We have everything. It like never ceases to shock me what business ideas people come in with. Yes, we have a lot of food-based businesses. It makes sense because we're a bakery, but that is just a fraction of our alumni. We've got coaching, we've got therapists, we've got people who are running programs, who have started nonprofits. We have physical product businesses, t-shirts. I'm trying to think what other physical product book we have bricks and mortar businesses, a really great used bookstore out in Chicago. So yeah, I mean, we've had like cannabis businesses, right? Like farms, lots of people like farms, food, flowers, gardening, health and wellness, really, you name it. And I think we've had it. Last cohort, we had a fellow who was developing an app, like you name it, we can support it and figure it out. So, okay, awesome. Ruby, I see your hand back up. Go for it.
Okay. So I think some of us are still trying to like physically visualize what this schedule looks like.
Sure.
So I guess for me, what I okay, so start date comes, boom. Me and my laptop will be wherever I am for the whole 5 months, and the only 3 weeks that I need to worry about is just the DC stuff, right? That's
Yes.
kind of what that. Okay, because I think I heard like the childcare and stuff like that, and I'm thinking, well, I wouldn't. Where would I need that? Because I'm at home or wherever. So we're wherever we are until those 3 weeks, and that's kind of how that works, right?
Yes. Although
Okay.
what I will say is that when you are home or wherever you're participating from, we ask you to be in a distraction-free environment, right? To
Okay.
have quiet space, dedicated space, right? If you are like driving around town, participating from your phone, that is not going to work.
I got you.
So
Okay.
we
We're
ask
fully
you,
locked in as our own work day, but like I
correct.
said, okay, I got
We
you.
ask you to consider this to be essentially a job for those 5 months, right? You
Okay.
sit down in front of your computer, you're keeping up on your communication, you're logging into meetings, you're keeping up on your homework and your work from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day, and then hopefully organizing, right, the rest of your life outside of those hours.
Okay. All
We
right.
very intentionally leave Fridays open because we understand you got lives. We hope you can organize sort of your appointments and all of things like that to be on those Fridays. Though we do offer 24 hours of leave during the program, essentially, because we know this is, adult learners, life be life in, that every day, you're probably going to have some conflicts and whatnot. We're very flexible with that. Again, communication is key. be communicating with us, be keeping up on your work, and you'll do just fine. Let's see, more in the chat. Where would we stay while in DC? It's up to you to figure that out. We do offer some places that are close to the bakery, convenient. But part of this experience is if you're going to be a small business owner, you've got to figure out how to do business travel, how you like to do business travel, right? So we do a course, right, on keeping track of your receipts and business expenses and whatnot. But as I mentioned, we've got that flight partner. You can apply for a flight. We help you get that processed and assigned. But after that, it is your responsibility to figure out where you're staying, your ground transportation, meals are on your own, all of those things. But we've been doing this now. We brought back in-person programming in 2022. And so far, everyone has figured it out. So I know that you guys will too. Sure. My title at DogTag is Director of Programs and Community Impact. And you can find me on the website too. More questions about lodging, flights, transportation. Hopefully what I just answered that a little bit. But yes, lodging you find on your own. You can do whatever you like. Again, we do offer, when you get admitted, we send a whole admissions packet that has details about hotels that are close to the bakery and that contact information. But sometimes we have fellows who prefer to stay in Airbnbs or other things that they're comfortable with. Sometimes we have fellows who prefer to stay a little further out. You can certainly stay on bases. There's no shortage of bases around here, whatever you're most comfortable with. As long as you show up for programming at 9 a.m. on Monday morning and Tuesday morning and Wednesday morning and Thursday morning, you can stay wherever you like while you're here. As I mentioned, flights, we have a flight partner. And then ground transportation is also on your own, unless we take field trips. If we take field trips during the course of programming, we will arrange that for you. Excellent, Linda. Thank you for sharing with our Act Now Education military community. Yes, perfect. Love that. Yes, if you are listening to all of this and you're like, this isn't for me, but gosh, that friend of mine, they should do this. Please share, the more people that we have who know about us that we could be helpful to, that is why we're here. Let's see, just scrolling through the chat. Yes, we have plenty of cake at the bakery, Jennifer. Plenty of cake at the bakery. Who foots the cost for lodging and transportation? You do. As I mentioned, the flight partner is free. Lodging and transportation, though, we expect you to use that stipend. As I mentioned, it's a $7,500 stipend over the course of the 5 months. We expect you to use that stipend to offset any costs you have towards participation. All right, that looks like I made it through all the questions in the chat. So I'm just going to pop back here to the slides real quick. So obviously you all, I hope it's obvious, got a bunch of great information today and should be ready to move forward. But we do still have more opportunities to get to know us if you're still figuring this out, or even if you're like, I am submitting my application, but I still want to spend more time and learn more. On Tuesday, February 17th, we'll be doing an alumni Q&A webinar. So on that, we will invite in some of our alumni, and they'll be happy to answer any questions that you have about their experiences. And then on Tuesday, oh my goodness, missed my date here. Not 9/16, because that would be way too late. On I'm going to get this date right for you all. On Wednesday, March 18th. So let me say that again, because the date is wrong on my slide. Wednesday, March 18th from 12 p.m. Eastern, we will be doing a hybrid open house event. What does that look like? That looks like if you are in the DC area on that day and want to come to the bakery, right up there on the second floor of that bakery, we will be up there in our classroom hosting whoever would like to be with us in person to learn more about the program. We'll go through this slide deck again. We'll answer any questions. I usually try and have an alum join us that day to be able to answer questions as well. You'll get a feel for the bakery, the classroom. You'll get a feel for what it's like trying to commute to Georgetown, all of those things. And we just get to know you a little bit better. If you are not in the DC region on that day, We will also we have a smart classroom, right? So we'll have you up on the screen. And we'll go through this slide deck again. It'll look like a lot like this in the online version. So you're welcome to come again in case any new questions come up for you or new questions get asked. But the online version will look a lot like what today looks like. So, and then as I mentioned, everything I have shared today is on our website and more. So please visit dogtaginc.org. And if you go to pages/events, you'll see these two events there, and you can get yourself registered for them. Okay, I see more coming up in the chat. Just peeking here, been to my location. Yes, Wednesday, March 18th, 12 p.m. is the hybrid open house event. And thank you everybody for catching that for me. All right. That is all the content I have for today. Yes. And yes, Mike, I see your question in the chat. The stipend is $7,500 over the course of those 5 months. As I mentioned, it's paid out in monthly allowances at about $1,500 each. With that, if you've gotten all your questions answered, then I can give you some time back in your day. Thanks everybody for joining and for asking such great questions. You can always ping us at fellowship at dogtaginc.org is our email box that we monitor as well. So I hope to see everybody's application start popping up in our application portal. So thanks everybody. Enjoy your day.